Hey guys, I'm sure coming at you today with another Raid Shadow Legends champion guide, this time on Lady Kimi, one of the better legendary champions to release within the last couple of years out there in the game. She's a Shadowkin Magic Affinity legendary champion. Today we're going to talk about why she is so amazing. But first, we'll start out with a few shout outs here. So we have JF Grenier says a new Lady Kimi guide. All the ones out there are over a year old already. And then we have Skull Crusher, nice of you to come by, man. Lady Kimi or Elder Scar guide. When you first use him in a tanky build in CC, waves. Okay. Yep. Making it happen, Skull Crusher. And then we have DHDJJJ. Hello there, Ash. Can you make a guide on Lady Kimi? She's my first legendary and carried me through the game. Wow, what a great first legendary. Who was your first legendary that you guys pulled on your entire account? Mine, I've said it before, but for the new viewers out there, mine was Biggin. He was my first, and I haven't done a guide on him yet. Shame on me, right? But Biggin was my very first legendary and my first epic that I ever pulled. I remember him too, also an Ogren, and we just heard from him. It was actually Skull Crusher. That was the first epic that I ever pulled on my main account as well, which is the account that we're on today. So Lady Kimi, why is she so good? Well, first of all, look at her base stats, guys. Over 20k on the HP, a healthy amount of attack from a support champion whose damage is based on attack with an AoE as well. 1145 on the defense, pretty good, and 115 is S tier in terms of the base speed on this champion. So, love the base stats. On the A1, Lady's Touch. Attacks one enemy, then attacks the enemy with the highest turn meter. Will attack the same enemy twice if the initial target also has the highest turn meter. The second hit has a 60% chance when booked of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. What a nice ability there. You can, attack somebody with lowest HP if you want to maybe try to finish them off with the A1, and then the second hit's going to go to the highest turn meter anyway, or you could just double hit the highest turn meter. It's a really nice and unique A1 ability. Flurry of Petals is her AoE attack. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. Has a 100% chance of placing a decreased accuracy and a decreased speed for 2 turns. Also has a 100% chance when booked of decreasing each target's turn meter by 15%. She's a great champion to book. Having the turn meter reduction, the decreased accuracy, and the decreased speed all on an AoE attack is a tremendously powerful ability. And on the A3, it gets even better. It keeps getting better, guys. Spirit Flux, 4-turn cooldown when booked out. Removes 1 random buff from each enemy. Then has a 100% chance when booked of placing a block buff debuff for 2 turns on enemies who have buffs removed. This is exceptionally good for Hydra Clan Boss and the arena, or really anywhere that, enemies are going to be placing buffs. Faction Wars, Doom Tower waves, any dungeon, floor. She's really such a great all-around champion. In today's video, I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways to use her, different types of teams and areas to use her. But really what it comes down to is she is one of the most versatile champions out there. There's not many places you can't use Lady Kimi. So she's also filling the turn meter of all allies by 15% on this ability, and she's placing an increased attack and an increased speed. It's a great opening move for the arena. It's great. Her kit is exceptional for Dark Fae, right? Come in there. Unfortunately, right now we don't have Dark Fae on our Doom Tower rotation, but come in there against your allies on that last wave, decrease turn meter, decrease speed, decrease accuracy, and the attack. You're pretty much neutralizing all of the mirror images of your own champions, right? Fantastic area to use her in. So again, bringing increased speed, increased accuracy, and then Imperious on her passive, guys. This is an incredibly powerful passive in the game. It's really a telltale sign, right, in this game. If champions have an amazing passive, odds are they're kind of top tier. At least that's what the way things have been going the last couple years. Let's read the passive first, and then I want to look back when she was released into this game. Whenever this champion places a debuff on an enemy, also decreases that enemy's turn meter by 5% for each debuff placed. So that means a 10% turn meter reduction added on to the 15% turn meter reduction if you're landing both of these debuffs on the A2 ability. That's really, really good, right? And then whenever this champion or an ally receives a debuff, fills their turn meter by 5% for each debuff received. It's amazing anywhere, anytime that anybody's going to be landing a debuff on your champions, right? Again, for Hydra Clan Boss, this passive is incredible because for Hydra, a lot of the times we're going to be taking those, all those poison debuffs, whatever they are, provokes fears and true fears, that's going to be everywhere. So at least we're going to be getting turn meter out of that every single time, right? Now, she's also bringing one of the best speed auras for Doom Tower battles in the game. Speed auras by 30%. Let's take a quick look at her multipliers here, guys. She has an overall rating of 4.5 on hellhades.com. Her multiplier on the A1 is going to be a 2.4, not too bad, strong rating. It is a double time attack, keep in mind. And then a 4.2 on the AoE, which is an average damage rating, but it really comes down to how much you can scale up her base attack stat if you want her to deal a little bit of damage, which is important, again, for Hydra in areas that just go long in terms of the duration of the battle, right? For Doom Tower bosses, we can see here, they rank her, let's see, what do they give her? Dark Fae, which we already spoke about why she's so good there. Eternal Dragon, Magma Dragon, Frost Spider, all the traditional dungeons, everywhere except for traditional Demon Lord Clan Boss, they give her a 4 or a 5-star rating. And then hard mode dungeons, her best area is Ice Golem, and I would tend to agree there. So I really do agree with these rankings for the most part here on hellhades.com. In terms of when she was released into the game, it was, it was June of 2021. So almost, at the time of this recording, almost 2 years old. Happy birthday, Lady Kimi. She was released with Herndig, with Noble. Herndig, great. Noble, not so much. Siege Hulk, who I actually have a little a fond spot for, a soft spot for Siege Hulk, the big fella. Gory, Scathix, Horrorfies, well, you guys can see the rest here. So I would say, compared to the other champions that we've looked at in terms of like the batches that they were released on, I would say this one isn't as good, you know. She was definitely the highlight, along with Herndig, of these 11 new champions here, back again in 2021. Let's go ahead, no lower, unfortunately, on this champion, but let's go ahead and see how I have her built. I have her in a Doom Tower build, but you could use this really anywhere in the game. You can even use it in the arena, especially I think that people get caught up in the end game when you hear or talk to a lot of end game players. I think that you get caught up in like making them in one area specialist, any champion. With this build today, you can still use her in the arena. Really, you can use her anywhere. But I will talk about the differences if I was only making an arena Lady Kimi, okay? So here she is in Relentless gear. Well, you guys, if you know me, on longer battles, especially Hydra, I think that Relentless is absolutely king in this game, or Reflex, depending on the amount of abilities they have. Like I run Geomancer, for example. I prefer him in a Reflex set, or a Husk or a Royal Guard. I prefer them in Reflex, but pretty much everybody else I prefer in Relentless. I think Relentless is incredible. An 18% chance of an extra turn, ergo reducing the cooldowns of all the other, abilities that she has, is just amazing, right? So having her go back to back is great too. This gives us the ability to bring this 4-turn to a 3-turn cooldown, essentially, if we can get some, decent procs on Relentless and get those extra turns, which is really important because of the increased speed and increased accuracy, not to mention the block buffs for Hydra Clan Boss. So I have her in Relentless gear. You can see I built her very fast, 312 speed. Of course, if you're just pulling Lady Kimi as your first legendary, or if you're lucky enough to pull her in the early game or the mid game, you're not going to have the gear to get her this fast. But I think having her as fast as possible is going to be a great thing pretty much in every area of the game, even with her A2, right? We can get that decreased speed and keep coming at the enemies with more control, turn meter reduction again and again and again. So I think the faster the better on this champion, especially in the arena. She's a go first champion in some cases. Even if the other team goes first, though, you can come in there and remove some of those buffs and place block buffs on the A3, so it's nice. But she's a great setup for other debuffers because of the increased accuracy that she brings to the table as well. She's a good champion to go after Arbiter, because Arbiter is going to give a turn meter boost, and then she will come in there and bring not only the increased accuracy, but also increased speed, right? So I have her at 100%, 105 on the crit rate. So I do have her crit count because, again, her damage is not that bad. We have a very average to below average 2100 on the attack, almost 60k on the survivability, HP 3500 on the defense. That's totally fine. I will say on the accuracy, she benefits from her own increased accuracy. 328 for me is going to be enough accuracy given this champion in her entire kit to get the job done on every stage of Hydra Clan Boss. However, in the arena, We would like to have this a little bit higher, and we can adjust that simply by adjusting the masteries. Let's just go right to the masteries here. This is a very typical PvE build for Lady Kimi. The only thing I would change, again, if I was only or primarily using her in the arena, I would simply go with Eagle Eye, right? I think that War Master is definitely the way to go for a little bit extra damage, especially at Hydra in any dungeon, faction wars, etc. in the game. But most importantly, you can see the offense tree before I move myself over here. Most importantly on this champion, guys, I really love the support tree. Of course, getting extra accuracy is really nice, but I love 4 of these masteries. Number 1 is rapid response. 30% chance of increasing the turn meter by 10% when a buff cast by this champion is removed or expired. Again, she has those 2 buffs on the A3 ability. And then you pair that with arcane celerity. 30% chance to increase the turn meter by 10% when a debuff cast by this champion is removed or expired. So again, we get an additional chance of just continuing to crank out that turn meter on this champion. The other 2 masteries that I especially love are Master Hexer. A chance to extend the duration of the 2 buffs, the debuffs that she's bringing. Decreased speed, again, and the decreased accuracy, which is very valuable. And we want lasting gifts as well. A chance to, you guessed it, increase the duration of the increased speed and the increased accuracy, the opposite. She has 2 debuffs and then the same buffs on the A3, which is really cool. So I love getting lasting gifts, Master Hexer, Arcane Celerity, and Rapid Response on this champion. You could also make the case, if we don't care about her damage that much, which again, I could actually sacrifice this Deadly Precision and swap out Blade Disciple because I've kind of rebuilt her a little bit, but we don't need the extra crit rate, so we could benefit from the extra 75 attack, so I would redo that. Can I do it? I can reset for free here, but I'm not going to make you guys watch me do that. Another way to build her, though, if you don't care so much about the damage on this champion, is go defense tree, right? I would go Tough Skin, I would go Blast Proof, I would go Resurgent, I would go with Delayed Death, and then I would come in here with Retribution and Deterrence. The reason being is because she has a very valuable control element to her A1 ability. So anytime she's counterattacking, she's going to be immediately reducing that turn meter as well of the opponent and the enemy with the highest turn meter, okay? So I think those counterattacking, Retribution, and Deterrence are really valuable in this champion as well. So there's a case to be made that defense and support makes a lot of sense as well, although you'll sacrifice a little bit of that damage. In terms of blessings on this champion, guys, you could easily go with Intimidating Presence on this champion. Heck, there's so many ways you can go, right? You can go with Lightning Cage if you want to. I prefer Temporal Chains on this champion. Decrease each enemy's speed for each active buff they are under, except for the buffs placed at the start of each round, like a Necret the Great, or a Bolster set, or a Stone Skin set. But then, whenever an enemy receives a 3rd active buff, instantly decreases the turn meter of all enemies by a certain amount, right? So that gets really, really powerful. 5% at level 5, and then 15% at level 6. I still think even after the nerf to Temporal Chains, they went in there and they changed it. They added the accept the buffs placed at the start of each round to this blessing, but I still think it's super powerful, especially if you're lucky enough to get it all the way to 6 stars. That's a massive turn meter decrease. Either way, even at 3 stars, I'm still a fan of having this. Decrease enemy speed by 3% for each active buff up to 9%. That is a pretty dang strong blessing. And it does kind of synergize a little bit with the rest of her kit, right? With the Imperious passive specifically. So in terms of artifacts on this champion, I already mentioned the Relentless set, how much I love it. I have accuracy on the banner. I have crit damage on the amulet. I have defense on the ring. We have speed on the boots. We have HP percentage on the chest. We have crit rate on the gauntlets. Now, if you can afford to, if she's staying alive nice and easily on your team, I suppose you could go attack percentage on the chest, but I kind of put HP on there to kind of prove a point, right? You don't need her to go all out nukage. You want her to be fast and to stay alive first and foremost. She's got great control and she brings so much to the table outside of just the damage, and the damage isn't going to be that bad anyway. So you guys can see I'm looking for mainly speed, right? A trip roll of speed here, a double roll of speed there, another trip roll of speed here, and then again, as I mentioned, crit rate on the gauntlet, so I am getting some damage out of this champion. So there we have it, guys. Again, their total stats I showed you before, but we have her pretty fast here with some survivability and a little bit of accuracy. And we talked about the way that And we talked about the other ways that we built her for the arena. But speaking of the arena, let's just go ahead and kick her off here. You know, I'm recording this first thing in the season, so none of the teams are that formidable right now. Let's just go against another speed team. This is a very typical team that you'd see in Lady Kimi on. Again, kind of setting the table. She's a little bit faster than Prince Kaimar, setting the table for the control or the debuffer. So it could be like a Madame Ceres in this role as well. But she's going to go ahead and really do a great job boosting up their accuracy. So here she goes. She's going to really set up Kaimar. I think Kaimar already has around 600 accuracy. So really now he's about 900 accuracy. Nobody's going to come in here really and resist that sleep and that buff removal, setting the stage for a Trunda or whoever your nuker is to come in and get the job done. Let's go against a little bit of a tankier team here. Again, I'm in early gold, and there's no live arena open right now, so I can't really show you an end game of what you would expect, but this is basically how we're using her, right? Right now, we're seeing less. I got to be honest with you guys. At the time of this recording, we are seeing quite a bit less Lady Kimi out there than we did, I don't know, a few months ago, right? And that's basically because she's bringing, you know, this polymorph is everywhere. Sheep debuffs are everywhere. Speed teams are not as popular, but they still are popular. Don't get me wrong, right? They're still around. I still see them in top. I think I'm right outside top 300 right now, 350 or so live arena. So I still see Arbiter teams from time to time. It's not like they're totally dead, but we're seeing a lot less Lady Kimi because she can be controlled. You know, she can be controlled. I feel like Lady Kimi right now, personally, is better in Classic Arena a bit. See how we removed that buff from Arbiter and then we placed the block buffs on her? It's great, right? But I still see her. I like her in Classic Arena is what I'm trying to say here. Main reason, because in Classic Arena, we can choose the teams that we go against and we can kind of scout them out a little bit easier. But not to say that you can't use her in Live Arena as well. Are you guys warming up to Live Arena at all or not really? Let's go against one more team here and see what we can do. So Krisk is going to place those buffs at the start of each round. So you'll notice it's not giving her that boost. However, oh, look at that. And Kaimar kind of caught up. We're going to, yeah, let's just go in with we got the extra turn, of course, the Relentless prop. Let's just go ahead and wake him up. Who cares, right? Look at this, though. I mean, we're placing the decreased speed on everybody, which is so valuable. Decreased accuracy on everybody, like a Madame Ceres is fantastic. I lied. One more battle here, guys. This team. I found a team that looks a little bit more formidable here. So let's see what we can do with Lady Kimi. I have Faction Wars open right now as well, but before we go to that next, I do want to show you a couple Doom Tower, so we came in there again with a double turn. Wow. Relentless is really working out for us here, guys. But look at that. I mean, we've already done damage. We've already blocked buffs on them. We've got the, yeah, it's just looking really, really good. Just a great setup champion. Okay, let me go Hydra. I'm not going to do a Hydra battle for a simple reason. I've already used her this rotation. There's only 18 hours left. But I will show you the team that I used. I think I showed this team on maybe the Mithrala guide earlier this week. I think I showed this team. But essentially, you can see the damage compared to the rest of the champions on this squad. It's not incredible, but think of everything else she is bringing throughout the duration of this battle, you know? She just brings so much between the block buffs and the decreased accuracy, increased accuracy as well. And you can see how much I love Relentless for Hydra, right? Relentless, 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 Relentless. I could definitely put Mithrala in Relentless too, but I do have her in triple perception. Let me go ahead and show a Nightmare team or two here. Cannon, one of my clanmates here, right? His Lady Kimi, a little bit more damage than mine. Granted, a lot more overall damage as well. But, you know, basically using her as getting a lot of value out of that passive, bringing the increased accuracy. So champions like Ugo, champions like Molly, champions like Krisk can basically always land their debuffs with that increased accuracy. Not to mention increased speed. Obviously, on this team, Krisk has it as well, but it's nice to have two champions. And she's serving a big role on this team. Her and Ugo are responsible for placing buff removal in Lady Kimi's place. And, of course, all of those block buffs. Lastly, I cannot stress this enough, guys. I'm going to say it one more time and I won't say it again, but that passive is money, man. That passive is money. It's a lot of turn meter increase on your team throughout the duration of a Hydra clan boss battle, right? In Temporal Chains, you're going to see that proccing basically anywhere that you take this champion, including in Faction Wars. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So I put together a stage 21 team. So this is like kind of nuke heavy. We have Michinaki for a debuffer, we have Genbo, we have Karato, and then we have Hatatsu as our kind of our support champion with Lady Kimi on the squad as well. So let's see how we can do here. I'll keep it on auto. I'm gonna go a little bit smaller. All right. So she's already taken 2 turns. As you can see, we have increased accuracy on our entire team. I don't think anybody's been resisted thus far. And if we can ever get past this first wave, there we go, there we go. All right, so to keep your eyes on Lady Kimi here, she's going to go first. Decrease turn meter of the highest turn meter. You guys saw that, right? And then her A2 is now off cooldown, so let's go ahead and watch that. Oh, that's her A3, my bad. She comes in there with the increased speed again. And man, Flurry of Petals, there we go. You can see her Imperious, her passive, it continues to proc here. Nice. Gets another turn, gets an extra turn. Lady Kimi on a tear. You can see how great that A1 is. How she just automatically goes in there and attacks whoever is the highest turn meter. Karato hits hard, huh, guys? I need to do a guide on him soon. She goes in there, places the decreased accuracy, decreased speed on the red boss. You gotta love it. We all take a debuff, which is not great, but not ideal. But you can see it did, again, trigger her passive, right? Comes red boss. Gonna take down Hatatsu. How dare you? But again, some big damage coming in. Decreased turn meter on that A1. Here comes the red boss again. Get the counterattack from Genbo. Get another extra turn. See how powerful Relentless is, guys? Even in, you know, an area like this. Dude, this team absolutely nailed it. So Lady Kimi puts out a cool 147k damage. But again, it's really not about the damage here that she's bringing to the table. Look at Michinaki, though, man. Out damages everybody, including Genbo, dude. Michinaki is a monster. But yeah, Lady Kimi is truly one of the best support champions out there in the game for my money, guys. What do you think of this champion? You can use her absolutely everywhere. She fits one of these kind of niche roles on a team that it suits almost every team. There's not that many decreased speed on an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown champions out there. There's no champion with a passive like her. There's control on that A1. There's 2 essential buffs on the A3, especially for opening up in the arena. She just got a lot to her kit and amazing base stats. Easy to scale up all of her stats, guys. Let me know what you think of this guy, what you think of this champion. If you have any other requests, please go ahead and let me know in the show notes below. Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, take care.